CCA was inevitable. Cattlemen would start to try and look at some of these issues. There was no option but to do that. The board of directors for CCA when I joined the Western Stock Growers was basically dominated in the early days by the breed associations. They had money. It was an organization that was not very active. In fact, the secretary of the Western Stock Growers also acted as secretary of the Canadian Cattlemen's Association, for which they paid him $50 a month. So that was the amount of work that he did. But as we got into the late 60s and early 70s, the system of lobbying that the cattlemen had used was like what I call the old boy network. You knew somebody in the government, so you called them up and said, do something about it. When Pierre Trudeau took over as Prime Minister, he didn't like the old boy network system of lobbying. And the affairs that we were dealing with had become more challenging and more difficult to deal with. And it became apparent that the issues that we had in the day needed more attention, and that if we wanted to give it more attention, we needed staff, and in order to have staff, we needed money.
We had no money, and in fact our first budget was only $80,000, so a lot of problems had been piling up. But in the end, on September the 16th, 1968, an act was passed which created the checkoff, and by the way, the checkoff was non-refundable. The checkoff was 10 cents a head on cattle and 5 cents a head on calves. Without that, we couldn't have proceeded.
When we reconstituted the CCA, we tried to set it up so that provinces were represented on the basis of the number of cattle they had. So each province then, by whatever means they wanted, elected their representation to the board. In terms of its influence on government and on other issues, it became a powerful organization.